What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought were possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlevich.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show is, do you love, hate, or ignore your body? Before we get to the topic, let me tell you a little bit about who I am and what I am. I'm a medical doctor who became an Access Consciousness Facilitator and Akashic Record teacher and founder of a School of Akashic Records. Also podcast host, and I was a medical doctor, and yet I was always searching for some other ways to create a difference in the world. Right now, I just invite people to a different possibility with their health, money, relationships through private sessions and through classes around the world, online and in person, using tools of Access Consciousness and Akashic Records. And as I said, today our topic is, do you love, hate, or ignore your body? So how much do we hate our bodies and judge it constantly? How many of us actually love our bodies fully? Or are we ignoring it until it hurts? So let's change all of that. I quit medicine after my open heart surgery. And if you're just joining me for the first time, I was a family physician. I actually was born in Russia, came to US as a kid, and practiced in my own practice for about 10 years, I would say. It was very busy practice. I totally ignored my body. It was starting to hurt, telling me, stop. Didn't listen. I'm like, no. My patients need it. To the point, I created pneumonia and would not stop working. Actually, I was supposed to take a day off, but with a fever of 102 or 39 degrees, the office called me and said, oh, we have an emergency, doctor. And what do? Instead of saying, send them to emergency room, I said, okay, I'll come in. And I worked the whole day. How often do we do that? Is it actually helpful to us or our bodies? I found out not so much, because I ended up with open heart surgery at 37, literally killing my body in the process of working, stressing, family stress, work stress, all of that. And it continued until my body said, enough is enough. After that, I couldn't work as a physician, so I started doing a lot of other stuff. Became a Reiki Master. Well, before that, I was doing Akashic Records. And eventually, I found Access Consciousness, which was founded by Gary Douglas and co-founded with Dr. Dane Hare. And with those tools, things started shifting. I recognized that body, even separate from me, and yet it's not. Because in this world, there is two opposite and totally contradicting views. Religion, spirituality, a lot of talks about the body is sinful, body is evil, and body should be ignored. You have to, like, even medical field, nutrition, you have to feed the body a certain way, and then it will be healthy. And the other, so with that opinion, body doesn't matter, the spirit is, the soul is, the being is. And that's how we achieve enlightenment, by getting rid of the body. The other opinion is no, there is no spirit, or spirit is not important, body is, materialistic view. And with that, again, you don't listen to the body, you just give the body the food that you decided or somebody else told you is good, the medicine, the surgeries, all of that. And neither one of them is right or wrong, but yet there is something else. And because body has a consciousness of its own, just like the spirit or soul or being, you can call it whatever it is, entity. The soul, the being is eternal, pretty much would never die. We go from body to body. And yet, in this lifetime, we chose this body for some reason. We put our parents together. We created the genetic material. So the physical body is the way it is because we created it or chose it. Also, all the judgments that we put on the body created this body. And we'll talk about that later. But the body itself has a consciousness. And it communicates with us. It doesn't have words because the primary language of everything and everywhere, if you look at animals, plants, earth, everything communicates in energy, different vibration. Even language, it's a vibrational frequency that our brain kind of translates into words. Because the sound, if we didn't know language, let's say I'm American born in Russia, and now I know two languages, Russian and English, but I have no idea about Chinese. So if somebody speaks to me in Chinese, I would not understand it. It would be just gibberish and like vibration. There would be sounds, but I wouldn't understand. If I learn a language, I can understand what they're saying. And yet a lot of times, even when people, let's say, if somebody is angry and screaming at us in Chinese or in Spanish and we don't understand those languages, we would get the energy of it. They're angry at us. Or if they're talking in a tone that's soothing and trying to express their gratitude, we would get that on some level. Body communicates the same way on the energy level. But nobody taught us the language of the body. So what happens? You've seen people when they are in a foreign country and trying to get directions, trying to talk to somebody who doesn't speak their English, they're trying to speak louder. Like the other person won't understand if they speak slower and louder. If they start screaming at them, they will finally understand. Same is the body. When we don't hear the body, when we don't listen to the body turns the volume up and starts screaming at us. And that is actually, we understand as pain. But that's just body trying to tell us. Just with me, when I was working and would ignore the body, would be tired and kept working, the body's like, you know what? We need rest. So let's create some illness and you'll be in bed for at least 2 or 3 days and I'll get some rest. Yeah, it does happen, right? How many of you done that? It's pretty much just like a foreigner yelling at us, trying to get us to understand. And we're like, why is he screaming? I still don't get it. But the body is trying to tell us something in the hope that we would listen. Something that we cannot ignore anymore. And that's part of ignoring. But do we love the body? And a lot of times it's love-hate relationship. Let's start with what is love. How many of you understand what love is? I don't, because love has 1,000 different definitions. Brotherly love, romantic love, motherly love, parents to children, grandparents. Everybody has a different idea. And especially one of the ideas of love is abuse. How many family have idea of love is abusing emotionally, physically, whatever, sexually? Because to them, it's loving the child. They're loving the child, loving the spouse. Doesn't matter who we're talking about. In Russia, there was a saying, if the husband doesn't beat his wife daily, he doesn't love her. How stupid is that? And yet, in a lot of cultures, it's a norm. Like if a child, like disciplining the child, hitting them is a norm in a lot of societies, including Russia. When the kind of like child abuse even notion came around, I know in America it's very common, and parents can go to jail for that. It's new because a lot of times children get abused, and that's how they interpret love. So the child grows up with abuse, starts identifying pain as abuse, as love. We translate it into abusing our bodies, meaning that, oh, we love our body, so we have to discipline our body. We have to exercise to the maximum because that's good for the body, not asking what the body desires. Pushing certain food, let's say healthy food, salads and or whatever, like we decided the healthy nutrition, raw foods, macrobiotics. It doesn't matter what it is. And by the way, I'm not against all of those. All of those are wonderful, all those nutritional facts, as long as you're asking your body. I know a friend of mine was told that eating kale is wonderful. And she was eating kale every single day, to the point where she actually got sick. Because that's what happens. When you feed body or do something to the body that body doesn't like, it will tell you. Starting maybe with the farts and nausea and then really getting sick. It's very important to start asking the body. And it's time for our first break of the show. Time flies. So we will continue discussing all those points of view and kind of like talk about tools, how to change all of this. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Inspired Choices Network. We will be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is, do you love, hate, or ignore your body? And as I said in the first segment, being a medical doctor and now Access Consciousness Facilitator, 3-day body facilitator, and Akashic Record teacher, and founder of a School of Akashic Records, I was always searching for the tools to change, create a different reality with our bodies, with our families. And with the tools of Access Consciousness and Akashic Records, I found out it's such a different reality with what the body and the being can have. And as I was talking about the abuse as we grow up, translates a lot of times in notion that it is love, and that's how we love our body, by abusing it. So what can we do to change that? But before we get to that, let's talk about how insidious it can be, to the point of as simple as when we go to a restaurant, instead of asking our body, what would you like to eat? We either look at the prices or we look at what's healthy choice. We ask for gluten-free, we ask for no sugar, anything that we decided that's what the body needs. Instead of body, what would you like to eat? It's so simple, but we forget that. There was an amazing experience I had, because I've learned that tool. Did I use it in the beginning? No. Access has so many tools. It's continuously evolving. So you go after the new tool, the most popular tool, but the basic one, communion with the body, a lot of people forget. So I'm here to remind you, just ask body. Because body has a consciousness of its own, like I said in the first segment, and it knows what will create more for the body. Body, what would you like to wear? Body, what would you like? Where would you like to go for vacation? Body, what will create more for us? What would you like to do? All of those questions is part of creating that communion and start communicating with the body on a different level, on an energetic level, and very important to listen. People would ask, how do you listen to the energy vibration if you don't know the language yet? One of the ways is kinesiology, and it's used in many modalities, many techniques. You muscle test. Body, what would you like to eat? Is very simple. You go through the menu. I just do it with my finger, pretty much with eyes almost closed, so I don't look at the names, and pick the things that feels light, or where my finger stops. There was an incident in Israel. I was facilitating a 3-day body class there. And during lunch, we went out with some participants to a restaurant. And the restaurant didn't have English menu or Russian menu. It was only in Hebrew. And I did not understand language. So the girl that was with me asked, do we want to go to different restaurants where they have an English menu? And I'm like, no. Let's use the tools of access consciousness of asking body, what would you like to eat? And I'm vegetarian most of the time, or pescatarian, so I eat a little bit of fish occasionally. But my body does not like meat, as I found out. And it's not like I'm against meat, but my body just doesn't require it for the last 10 years. So I'm like, buddy, what would you like to eat here? And she looked at me almost like with a horror expression. I didn't know why she was looking like that. And I went through, and if you're just listening, I'm just pointing my finger at the blank space and going down, kind of like explaining that I was doing that with a menu. And my finger stopped at one of the dishes, and she translated. It was eggplant with cheese. It was the only vegetarian dish on the whole menu. Everything had meat, not even fish. And I'm like, really? I wasn't surprised, but yet I was amazed at how body knew. Because for body, there is no language difference. It doesn't care if it's in Hebrew, if it's in Chinese, if it's in English and Russian. It doesn't matter. It knows the vibrations, and it picks exactly what it desires. It was probably one of the most delicious dishes I've had. And that's usually what happens. If the body picks what it likes, it tastes divine. Same with clothes. Usually in the morning, I ask the body, what would you like to wear? And I go through my closet, kind of like looking for what feels light. And I probably should have mentioned that in the beginning of the show, but I'll say it here. Whatever is light and expanding is true for you. Whatever is heavy is a lie. It's another tool of access consciousness, and you can use it for anything, including communicating with your body. And it's such a cool, amazing thing. You can also use muscle testing. Wherever, and my cat just came in. She wanted to be included in the show. So with that, I look at the things in my closet and ask this, and sometimes I use my full body almost like a pendulum, kind of like swinging. I ask, for me, for like swinging forward is yes, and going backward is a no. So a lot of them I ask this one, this one, this one, this one, and eventually I get a yes, like for this dress this morning or for this jewelry. And a lot of times that is, okay, you can go. And a lot of times when I wear something that the body likes, everybody notices. And it might not be designer clothes, it might be something I picked up somewhere. And yet people say, oh my God, that dress looks gorgeous, or this top looks gorgeous. Where did you get it? And it might be something that's been sitting in my closet for a few years. And body didn't want to wear it until now. This is more about choosing to communicate honestly and not to have barriers with our bodies. Because a lot of times we say, oh, I love my body. And then you don't ask the body. And by the way, that goes with relationship, not just with the body, but with another person. How often in relationships we kind of like decided what's good for another person, a child, a spouse, parent, doesn't matter. We are playing superior bitches or kind of like evil bitches. We've decided that what's good for them. And never ask, what do you actually like? What do you desire? Because the relationship is a relationship. It doesn't matter if it's a person or your body. It's about having intimacy with the body. And intimacy doesn't actually mean having copulation or sex. Intimacy, according to Access Consciousness, means have 5 elements of intimacy is honor, trust, vulnerability, gratitude, and allowance. Those 5 elements comprise intimacy when you don't have barriers toward another person or your own body. It creates such a difference in everything, everything we do, everything we be. It creates such an ease. And I might do the whole show on the intimacy and elements of intimacy because it's such a huge topic. But right now, for the sake of discussion, let's talk about intimacy with your body, having gratitude for the body, having trust in the body. And trust meaning that you will, an allowance, allowing the body to choose what it will create more for the body. Trusting that it will pick what's good for the body. And I had a funny conversation with my cousin. She's like, how come body knows? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. You have to read the ingredients. They have to be organic. It has to be this. It has to be that. And I'm like, okay, let's do an experiment. Next time you're in a store, instead of looking at the labels first, go through the aisle and just ask body, what would you like me to buy today for the week, for a couple of days, whatever you do the shopping for. And I'm talking about grocery shopping, clothes shopping, doesn't matter. And you go through the aisle, and wherever like you get the pull, pick that food, that package, and then look at the ingredient. The next day she calls me from the store, and oh my God, Helen, you wouldn't believe it. My body picked the most organic, the most healthy things of the shelf. It's like, Body knows. And it's time for our second break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Magic and abundance are everywhere. What if you could tap into abundance and start creating your life with complete and total ease? Working with Dr. Helen Gitlevich will give you exactly that, total ease in creating abundance in your life. Dr. Gitlevich creates classes all over the world, both in person and online. She works with you to create abundance with your money, with your body, with your relationships, with all areas of your life with total ease. Connect with Dr. Helen Gitlevich at creatingabundancewithease.com. Her contribution in your world will be a noticeable gift in a very short period of time.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is, do you love, hate, or ignore your body? And before we go to our topic again, I'd like to tell you about the classes that's coming up. I'm doing online Being You class with Rachel Silber, and it's Being You with Your Body. And it's one day that will be split in 2 days, 3 hours each, for the ease of people, on 20th and 21st of August, which kind of like talks about our relationship with the body, because 1 hour talking about do you love, hate, or ignore the body is not enough. Like 1 hour is barely just touching the surface. In there, we are delving more into the tools of how to communicate with the body, how to change our relationship, how to change things that we might not like as much or love as much about our bodies, or even hate some of the things, and change that. Also, I'm doing 3-day body class, which is another way of creating a relationship with the body by energetically playing with that and shifting things that are either this is or not working. I had a woman losing 2 sizes in 3 days of a body class just by attending class, not changing her diet. And we have quite a few people kind of like letting go of pain and suffering with their body and changing totally the relationship during those 3-day class. The next one is coming in Asheville, 26th through 28th of August, and then 4th through 6th in Chicago area. Also, bars classes, facelift class, and you can find out more on Creating Abundance with Ease website. With that, we are back to our topic. And before we went on the break, we were talking about tools of asking the body and listening to that. What a notion, because a lot of times some people actually have asked questions, but they don't listen. They kind of like, okay, what would I like to eat? It's funny, years ago, I've always struggled with weight. Never was like hugely overweight, but never was very skinny. Actually, I probably was skinny when I was young, but I judged myself that I needed to lose extra 5 pounds. How many of us do that? And so I always was on some kind of a diet, basically abusing my body with food, not even asking if the diet is good for us. By us, I mean me and my body. A lot of those diets were nasty, awful tasting, hurt, because my stomach would hurt or I would always go hungry. There were so many things I've done. Probably lost and gained 200-300 pounds over the time of like losing 5 pounds, 10 pounds here, 20 pounds, gaining 30, all of those things. And but never asking the body, what would you like to actually eat, and how can we change that? With that, I learned with Access, when I actually eat when I'm hungry, it changes things. So years ago, I encountered called spiritual diet. And the premise of the diet was you eat anything and everything you like and want. Nothing is off the table, but listen to that. The only thing you have to do is, wait for it, you ask your body. You ask your body if you're hungry, and you ask your body, what would you like to eat? And you ask your body how much you would like to eat of that. No limits, just always asking. And you have to make sure that you're actually hungry, not bored, not thirsty, because a lot of times we think we are hungry, but we are hungry for something else, including sex. Yeah, that's a mic drop. A lot of people don't realize desire for sex, for copulation, for intimacy actually translates a lot of times by us, not by the body. Body tells us it's similar vibration, but we interpret it as, oh, we are hungry. But we are hungry for a person, not for the food. So a lot of times, like when I was on that diet, I would go to the refrigerator, open the door, and I'm like, am I hungry? And a lot of times I got, nope. And I had to close the door, refrigerator. And then I would ask, what would I like to eat? And I would get nothing here. Or it would desire a salad. It would desire something healthy. And it was so funny. After 3 days, I'm like, forget it. No, I'm done with that diet. I actually lost probably about 5 or 6 pounds the first 3 days that I was on it. But it was so difficult for me at that time because I didn't have the tools also. Because a lot of times it's like, who does it belong to? There is so many tools we go through in the classes that, and I might talk about that on different show. You might listen to other podcasts that were before about the body, about relationships, about anything else, and you can use those with your body and changing the relationship with your body. So eventually I'm like, no, I know I'm not hungry, but I'm going to eat that chocolate anyway. That's how I felt in that moment. Because a lot of eating is emotional. A lot of eating is when we are bored, when we don't have anything to do, when we're upset. As I said, when you're desiring sex, when we're thirsty. A lot of times we don't even think about that. Ask, am I thirsty or am I hungry? And drink instead of eat. With all of that, people gain weight. And then there is, of course, the judgments of the body. Don't forget that. And guess what? If we judge something, we get more of that. The more we judge it, the more we get it. Because body does not distinguish between our desires or fears or judgments. Our body just does what we tell her, or if it's male or female, it just listens. And it's like, you like more wrinkles? Cool, let's create more of what you're asking for. It doesn't recognize that actually you were judging that you got one wrinkle or two wrinkles, and suddenly you have more just because you judged it. What if instead of judging you said, oh body, you look so beautiful? What do you think that would create? Body, I love you. You're such an amazing body. And I love an exercise that we always do in the body classes. And it's thanking our body. Think about how much you abused your body during the years, how much you judged it. Think of it as a friend. If you had a friend that you abused that much, ignored that much, or kind of like judged that much, how long that friend would have been with you? Not too long, right? Mm-mm. But the body is with you anyway. So let's thank our body for being with us. How many years you're alive on this planet in this lifetime? Because we've had many bodies. But this is the body that we have right now. So the way I do it, or teach in the classes, is I rub my hands, and if you're just listening, not watching on TV, because we have both, the TV show on Binge TV as well as multiple podcast stations. So I'm rubbing my hands and create an energy ball. We can call it Tai Chi ball, or just a little bit of energy between the hands, and I breathe into that. You can do whatever you like to do. And then I put it on my face. I put my hands on my face and just say, thank you, body, for being with me. I touching my face, I'm touching my cheeks, I'm touching my shoulders, and just saying, thank you, body, for being with me. Thank you for taking care of me. Because body is the one that's been living your life and hugging people, loving people, talking, hearing, seeing things, having the experience of your life. And yes, some of us have a lot of pain, but that's, as I said earlier in the show, a lot of it is our body knocking, saying, oh, please, can we change that? Oh, hear what it is. And a lot of it is not even ours. And it's time for our third break of the show and final segment. And in that final segment, I'll talk a little bit about who does it belong to, because a lot of things is not even ours, all that pain and suffering. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on the Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is, do you love, hate, or ignore your body? And yes, this hour we've been talking about how much we can change our relationship with the body. And I know an hour is not enough. That's why I'm doing a lot of classes online around the world. And you can find out more on Creating Abundance with Ease. And if you're just joining us on the last segment of the show. You can listen in the recording on pretty much iTunes, Spotify, multiple platforms, SoundCloud, YouTube, and also Inspired Choices Network is on Apple Fire Stick, Roku, Smart TV, LG TV, and a lot of different things. You can search for it, and you can listen live every Wednesday at 11 o'clock on Inspired Choices Network. We have different shows, different podcasters. Mine is at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and 9 o'clock Pacific Time. You can find out your time just going on the website or the app. Also have an app. Also, you can, as I said, listen to it in the recording, and you can find out more on my website. You can read the blog. You can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and pretty much everywhere. Send me emails and just connect with me. Next week, we are going to have Being You, especially when traveling, with a guest, Karina Stoifel. She's actually been traveling across United States, and she'll be talking about her experience with that, especially in a time of COVID and social isolation. And as I said, you can listen live or in the recording if you're busy during the time on Wednesdays. You can connect with me, join me in live classes, online classes. I do a lot of videos on Facebook. You can join the groups, Being You Without Hiding. And right now I'm doing 31-day challenge of judgment-free zone. It's a Facebook group where I do little videos with Lale Hancock and little snips, a little bit graphic, challenging people to stop judging themselves. And that's part of creating the relationship with your body. Because if we judge our body, nothing that doesn't match that judgment can come in. Because judgment is another point of view. And point of view, think of it as tiny point. Can you see beyond the point? If you have just a pinhole, just one pinhole, how much can you see the world through that pinhole? Nothing. This is just one. And if you have a lot of pinholes, yeah, in ophthalmology, like they use the pinhole thing so you can see clearer things, but in reality, you see very little of the world because it's like a blinders. You can see what's in front of you, but nothing else. You don't even see infinite possibility that's in front of you, behind you. You cannot turn around because you have only one point of view, or you have multiple points of view. With that, and again, you create more of those points of view. So if you have a point of view that your body is too big, too small, too tall, too short, too young, too old, all of that, create more of that. And a lot of those points of view, not even yours. A lot of it could be, because we are kind of like psychics and psychic sponges, we pick up other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Think about how often do you think of a friend and they call you? How often do you think of somebody and you meet them on the street? Because we feel, we sense, we know a lot more than what we decided is in front of us. And again, it's a bigger conversation than we have just a few minutes left in the show. With that, a lot of things is not ours. I would say 99% of thoughts, feelings, emotion, and even sensation in the body not ours. Because our body feels other bodies, and it gives us information. If another body is in pain, our body will kind of like sense that and tell us, oh, this person is sick, can we help him? There is an amazing book by Dr. Dane Hare, and you can read it. It's Body Whispering, and actually there is going to be a class in September on the same topic, where he talks a lot about bodies picking up other sensation. And what happens is we picked up that sensation, judged it as ours, and automatically locked it in the body. So now the body is starting to create physical abnormalities to match it. Because a lot of times, a lot of people would go to the doctor with a pain and nothing is found. But then the doctor might tell them, oh, let's say it's a pain in the back. And the doctor would say, oh, it's probably a disc. Guess what? The body starts creating a bulging disc in the back to match the symptom that you're feeling. And what's interesting, when I was practicing as a doctor, I had a patient who was literally paralyzed from waist down. And the diagnosis was she's got a disc, the bulging disc that created that, pressing on the nerve. And physiologically, it's correct. I had a friend who was a medical doctor, still is, I think, and he practiced martial art movements and stretching and physical therapy to treat back injuries and back pains. And that woman was told she needs surgery, and when he came in, it's like, well, his idea was discs themselves don't cause the problem. It's the spasms, it's a lot of other stuff. He was working on physical level still, but he was shifting a lot to the point that when he started working with her with stretching, by the end of the week she started walking, and in about 3 months she was skiing with no surgery. How cool is that? Our bodies has ability to heal itself as long as we let them. As long as we don't hinder them by our points of view, by our judgments. And especially if it's not even ours. It could be doctors, it could be anybody. If we don't buy into that, a lot of times we can heal our body just by using energy healing, like a body class. As I said, I'm facilitating a body class on 26, 28 in Nashville, and in Chicago on September 4 to 6, where we go a lot into healing the body with different energy vibrations. And our show is coming to the end this week, but as I said, I'm returning back or forward next Wednesday. And you can listen to the past podcasts everywhere, pretty much on any sound platform, podcast platform that there is in the world. So you're not limited to just live shows. And with that, I just want to remind you about having gratitude for your body, honoring your body, being vulnerable with your body, listening to it, being an allowance of what it is without judgment, and just being and trusting your body that it knows. And so grateful for you listening to it either live or in the future. And just saying goodbye for now. Allowing yourself to be present and asking the body. Bye.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Creating Abundance with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlevich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your life and your body.